Hello, welcome to our coffee break with Kardec. We are currently talking about Allan Kardec's fifth book, Genesis, Miracles and Predictions According to Spiritism, during our 15-minute coffee break. This book, as mentioned before, was published for the first time in January 1868. Today we will be talking about the character of the Spiritist doctrine, the Spiritist revelation. And Kardec, he was very careful during the introduction of this book and then chapter 1, before he actually started to share all the knowledge, the information that was brought by the Spirit. He was very careful to put things in the right place and to help us see from the right perspective. Because what he was presenting to us wasn't the teachings of a man. So many people say, well, the Spiritism is the result of a man's perception, view, information. And we normally say, no, this is the wrong view, because the Spiritism is the teachings, they are the results of a collective information from the spirits. Here, the spirits, we mean a group of spirits who gave us this information at different time in different places. And Kardec's work was actually to get all this information together using logic and combining this information, examining the coherence of all this information, actually to give us the teachings the way we know them today, within the 5 main books, plus some other books that he wrote. But basically, Spiritism is composed of 5 books: the Spirit's book, the Medium's book, the Gospel, Heaven and Hell, and finally Genesis. Well, the importance of pointing out that this is a collective teaching from the spirits, from this group of spirits, is because it's not the opinion of one man or a small group of people who researched and came out with this information. Because in this case, it's a very limited view. Whereas when the teachings come from a group of spirits, and this group is a very large group, and it comes through different people, different places, different times, and you have the opportunity to study them and, using logic, as I said before, make sense of that. So it has a very strong structure, and it's very difficult that 1 or 2 opinions can actually just throw away all these ideas, all these teachings that we have received. That's why the Spiritist teachings are so robust. And these teachings, of course, were the result of concordance. Kardec, he analyzed all these messages that were received, and then they had to be concordant. I mean, one couldn't contradict the other, but they had to make sense using logic. And it's interesting, when we say that it is a revelation, we can see a revelation from the religious point of view, but we can also see a revelation as information that we so far haven't managed to acquire through our senses and then through our instruments. What mankind has been doing through the centuries is we initially used our 5 senses to have an idea, comprehend the world around us. And then we started to develop our instruments as a result, in part, of this knowledge we've acquired through our senses. So initially, using our senses, we started to build knowledge and the perception of the world around us. We started to make instruments to have control of processes around us, made us instruments, and then we start to see things that were beyond our five senses. But what the spirits brought to us is a new reality, the reality of the spirit world. And the spirit world encompasses our physical world as a small, particular situation within the domain of the spirit world. And that's why they are so important. We haven't managed to reach that level with our instruments. So this it has a character of a revelation. Um, and also, to be a revelation, as Kardec places to us, to be a revelation, it has to be a truth. You can't reveal something that is not true. In this case, it's not a revelation, but it is a lie. It is, as we normally say nowadays, fake news. We are not saying something that is based on the truth, but we are just giving an opinion or intentionally telling a lie. So why do we need a revelation? Kardec asks. What is the purpose? Can Spiritism be considered a revelation? All that was brought through mediumship from the spirits, from this group of spirits, can it be seen as a revelation? What is its character? Is it a religious revelation? Is it a scientific revelation? Is it authentic? The authenticity of this. Some other questions that Kardec raises in this introduction: is it absolute or susceptible to modification? So Kardec provokes us, actually, prepares us to find the answers. He won't give us the answers directly because he could start the book writing or giving the answers to these questions. But he prepares us, he opens our minds, he puts these questions so that when we go into the book itself, we start to find answers to these questions. So it's very interesting. Also, he questions the authority of the spirits and the information that they give. I mean, have they the authority to tell us this, to give us this revelation? And as I said, to be a revelation, it has to be a truth. And do we need these revelations? So he starts saying that the revelation, it comes from a word revelare in Latin. It means to go out from under the veil. So there is something there. We can't see it for one reason or another. We haven't reached that point. We have no instruments. We have no means of seeing that. There is a veil covering that. And then you take it from under the veil. You expose that. And as I said, to be exposed, it has to be a truth. Otherwise, when you show it, you are showing something that is not real, is not truth. So it can be seen as a revelation. Has it a religious sense in this revelation? And Kardec points out that no, it's not just religious. It takes actually this mystic view of certain phenomena, and this phenomena, natural phenomena. And we could see that because they are natural phenomena, they can't be seen as something strictly religious. It can be also seen as scientific. But the main point in all this, the most important point that some people question, well, why are you saying that it is scientific as well? He gave us actually a point that can be studied in a scientific way, which is mediumship. All this happens through mediumship. Mediumship is a phenomenon. It's there. It can be seen. We can study it. not exactly using the methods that we have developed for our sciences in academia, because we are dealing with a different order of phenomenon. Usually, when we go to study something at the university, in our laboratories, what we do is we send an experiment where we try to get control of all the possibilities, all the variables that are there involved in this phenomenon, and we try to control all the others, but one that we want to measure and analyze how it responds to our variations in different aspects. But when talking about mediumship, it's a more complex phenomenon, so it requires a different methodology. And this methodology we will find within the Spiritist books. The way there's a medium's book, and in the medium's book, we have a great deal of information regarding mediumship and the process of communicating with spirits. And we also see in another opportunity, we also see in Genesis how this process from an interaction point of view, not just the psychic aspects of medium and the spirit, but also the physical aspects, as it were, that make mediumship possible. Um, so the important revelation is being fulfilled at the present time through the possibility of communicating with spirits. So we'll say, well, how can I rest assured that this is true? This revelation is a revelation because we have mediums all over the world. We have mediumistic phenomena taking place all the time, everywhere. And as Kardec has put, we are all mediums in different degrees of manifestation of the faculty, but we are all mediums. Mediumship is part of us. It hasn't been seen as mediumship for a long time. That's why some phenomena related to mediumship, they've been seen as miracles, as something fantastic, something that is beyond the natural um, um, class of phenomena. So we see that what was actually seen as mystical becomes, or something that happens without any control or any understanding, it becomes now subject of study, part of this revelation that the spirits brought to us. In fact, they brought through this very same phenomenon, mediumship. So, as I said, the revelation, it derives from a divine and also from a scientific revelation. And Genesis is the living proof of that, because we normally say within Spiritism that Genesis is the most scientific book of all. I agree to a certain extent because it deals with natural phenomena. We'll see the formation of planets, the formation of our Earth, and this is the subject of what we call now astrobiology, a modern science that until the 70s, 1970s, astrobiology was seen as science fiction. But from that onwards, to look for life, to understand the formation of matter, the formation of solar systems and planets beyond our Earth, is an academic science nowadays. So we see that the same has happened or is still happening in certain areas of study regarding spiritism. Is seen as religion or uh, science fiction. But as a matter of fact, when we understand that life goes beyond the material aspect, we'll start to see it from a different perspective, not just in the spiritist groups, but also in our academic research. So we'll see that within Genesis, we very much see the material world and the spiritual world being part of one whole world, where the material aspect of life is just one tiny aspect within a much broader one. Well, my coffee has finished, and I hope you've enjoyed yours. See you next time to talk more about Genesis. Thank you very much.